We are going to find these limits, and we're going to use limit laws and then get the values looking at this graphically. So looking at this first one, we have the limit of the sum of two functions. So with limit laws, we know that's the sum of the limits, which means we can have the limit as x approaches -2 of f of x and the limit as x approaches -2 of g of x, and then sum them together. So let's find the limit as x approaches -2 of f of x, so that's this magenta. And so as we look to approach -2, it doesn't matter what the function value is, we are going to approach -2 along this function, and we see that we approach a function value of 1. Then we're going to add to that the limit as x approaches -2 of g of x. Here's g of x, and as we look to approach -2 from either side, we see we have a function value of -1. So the limit of the sum is 0. Let's look at the second limit, and we can apply limit laws. We have a difference, so we can take the difference of the limits, but we also have some constants multiplied out in front, so we can find the limit and then multiply the constant. So this is going to be 4 times the limit as x approaches 2 of f of x minus 2 times the limit as x approaches 2 of g of x. And let's look as x approaches 2, so that would be over here. So as we look for f of x, that looks like about 1.5. So this is 1.5, and that would be multiplied by 4. So that's going to give us 6 minus. Now we go ahead and look at g of x, and as we approach 2, we can see we approach from either side a value of 0. So our final answer here is 6. Now looking at this last one, we have the limit as x approaches 1 from the positive side of f of x times g of x. So we have the limit of a product, so that is the product of the limits. So that means we can take the limit as x approaches 1 from the positive of f of x, and then we can multiply that by the limit as x approaches 1 from the positive side of g of x. So let's go ahead and approach 1. First of all, we'd approach from the right hand side f of x, and it looks like we approach a function value of 2. And then we're going to multiply that by, here's g of x, and as we approach 1 from the right hand side, we approach a function value of -1. So our final answer for that one is -2.